Hey gear seekers, I'm Nick. Welcome back to the graveyard. If you don't know what the graveyard is, up there somewhere, check out that video where I talk about the graveyard. But we receive like a lot of packages and sometimes things go kind of missing and hidden. And this kind of happened the other day with this, right? This got hidden in the graveyard. You've seen the video title, you know exactly what this is. But this is the NZXT Riser kit, the Rework kit V2 for the NZXT H1. I think the V1 was probably those stupid nylon screws. But what we're gonna do today is I'm gonna replace the riser cable in the H1, show the differences between the two, and yeah, I'm just gonna show you how to do it if you ended up getting this. I didn't ask for this, this just arrived, and actually they sent two of them because we've got two H1s. Nice surprise, but let's see what's different. Let's get into it. The Rework Kit V2. I just, as a bit of a heads up, this isn't a PCIe Gen 4 riser cable, so you'll have to use your own solution if that's the path you wanted to go down. But I've already slid this open to have a look. This actually has a repair kit guide that shows you how to do everything that we're going to be doing in this video. You know, it's like, hey, do this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. You can also use this as a guide if you like, but maybe showing you how to do it is easier, which is kind of like why we do these videos in the first place. Make a mess of the place. Look at that. That was the worst job ever. Mate, come on. Oh, I need strength for this riser cable. Remember guys, I'm weak. Here it is, the new riser cable, which I can already tell is different from the other one, but we'll pull the other one out and compare them side by side as well. And you get a bunch of new screws to mount it to the chassis. On the left is the original riser, and this is the replacement or the Rework Kit V2. It's pretty obvious what the issue was with the original one. If you look at this, I left the screw in so you guys can see, it basically goes straight through the ground plane of the riser itself with no type of insulation at all. So the screw can actually damage the PCB. Pull this out just so you can get a bit of a better idea. The screw basically went straight through the PCB. You can see where the ground plane for the PCIe riser is here, and basically the way it works is the ground is the whole copper part of the PCB. What's actually happening here is the screw's going through the PCB here without any grounding or any type of insulation. And what can happen here is if there's any type of current going through here and not being grounded, it can actually arc with the case and create an electrical fire. So you can see that the mounting for this riser cable has probably been used in a bunch of other systems, which is why it's a bunch of holes quite literally drilled through, and it's like a let's hope for the best and hope this doesn't catch fire. But as Steve and his team at Gamers Nexus proved, this can catch fire quite easily given the right circumstance. So it's better to alleviate this and yeah, not have this in your system and for it to catch fire. Look at this hole here, for instance. It's like they had the drill go through the PCB and they're like, oh, that wasn't quite right. And look, they've literally just like kind of drilled another hole next to it. That's not what you want. That's not ideal at all. If we look at the revision or the rework, you can see that now it's grounded and it's got these bits to actually insulate it from the case itself. So this, I have no idea how this passed any type of QA. I might have downplayed this in the past about how bad it could be, but actually after seeing them side by side, this is a big problem. On the back side, you can see with the new one on the right and the old one on the left, yeah, it's pretty apparent what's changed here. There's isolation here, and they literally just drilled and hoped for the best. That's kind of crazy. The nylon screw was a quick fix, and it was just a fix. It was like a hot fix, like a patch in a game that kind of fixes it but doesn't really fix it at all, right? Yeah, if you've got the nylon screws, get rid of it. Contact NZXT, try and get this one. This one is far better. You can also see here, not only are the screws not screwing through the ground plane of the PCB and actually leaving traces of the screw in the PCB on the new one, the holes are bigger, right? And that's a big thing here, right? because they've literally just drilled through the PCB and the screw is threaded through the PCB, that creates another issue in itself. So anyway, this is the new one, bigger holes, only holes for the riser for this system, and that's the meat and potatoes. So let's continue and show you how to install the new one. This has been sitting on the shelf for months now after what happened with the whole debacle with them. They didn't necessarily recall the case. I think a lot of people have called it a recall. It wasn't really. They kind of were just like, hey, we're redoing this. I did use this case for a long time and I have been using them, but I stopped after all of that, whatnot. Pulling the riser out is pretty straightforward. It's just 2 screws. So you want to loosen this screw here and this oddly placed screw here, which we might have to use a different screwdriver for, but let's just start off with our long boy, basically because I can get this screw in most places. There you go. So remove the top screw as well. This shorter screwdriver is one I'm not used to using. It's okay. Once you pull the 2 screws out, the whole riser will just come away from the system. Installing the new riser is the reverse of removal. Line it up with the holes that are now, there's only 1 set of holes, not 48,000 sets of holes. You'll have to forgive me, this is a very awkward angle to film at. That one in with the baby screwdriver. Put the Big Daddy in the bottom. Big Daddy always goes in the bottom. I'll do the top one again because it was just so awkward to film that way. But in she goes, screw it in, and there's the new riser installed. Very, very easy. People loved that teardown timer thing the other day, so what we're gonna do without any cuts is I'm gonna show you how quickly you can build yourself an NZXT H1 system. Power this thing up to show you that in like under 10 minutes you can build yourself an NZXT H1 machine. Ready? Power up. That's powering up. Right? The Radian logo is green from the last time I used it. Obviously, if you've already put your M.2, your RAM and your CPU on the motherboard, it's going to take under 10 minutes. That process there though takes about 58 seconds. I timed me doing it as casually as possible a couple of weeks ago in another video. So yeah, that's it. NZXT H1 is now repaired with a cable that I wouldn't be afraid that would actually catch on fire. Does that make sense? I just wanted to kind of readdress this because we've done so much coverage on this case in the past, and the last time I talked about this, I ditched this thing for a regular sized PC because I was afraid of fire, and people are like, oh, you shouldn't be afraid of the fire and blah, blah. But when you live in an apartment and you can potentially burn the whole building down and then lose everything you own, you know, better not to take any risks whatsoever. All right, ladies and gents, that's just about gonna do it for this video. Obviously, NZXT didn't sponsor this video. They just randomly sent this riser cable and I was like, hey, I might as well talk about it and quickly show you guys how to change it if you aren't that versed with building computers. But as you can see, it takes a couple minutes to change it out and you could potentially save yourself from burning your entire house down. I'm glad to see that they actually came to the party and had a fix for this. So big shouts out again to Gamers Nexus for kind of getting the ball rolling, and Reddit for getting the ball rolling on like getting this whole process happening. And again, I'll apologize for kind of downplaying it when it started because I knew what was kind of happening with it. I wanted to see more news come out about it. And yeah, I'm happy to accept when I'm wrong. So that's gonna do it for this video. If you like the music you heard here, I make all the music. If you wanna get early access to videos like this one, float plane. Oh yeah, the music's on Patreon, I didn't mention that. Anyways guys, once again, thank you so very much for watching. I'm your boy Nick with Gear Seekers. You peek, we seek, and I'm gonna be doing another build with this really soon. I'm gonna replace the riser cable on the other H1 that we've got too, just so I can feel a little bit better about not catching our entire house on fire. And I know that I'm dramatizing it for the sake of a video here, but you have to remember, I don't like taking risks for little things like this, so neither should you. Contact NZXT if you have an H1 and you haven't replaced a riser cable. I'll put a link in the description if I can find somewhere where you can contact them to do it. They probably have a support page or whatnot, but yeah, I appreciate you guys. Love you all very much. Thanks for watching.